Um, Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Mornings with Marvel, where authenticity lives and thrives to create a space of growth, healing, and joy. I am your host, Andrea Lawful Sanders, and each day we will cover the topics that are informative and engaging while learning from each other. Good morning to each and every one of you. It is Thursday, uh, October 23rd, 2025. There is a category 4 hurricane that has formed at 4 plus, so it could possibly be a category 5 in right near the island of Jamaica. They're getting a ton of water right now, and I can't even begin to tell you how dangerous this storm is. So anybody who has plans to travel to Jamaica, Cuba, Puerto Rico, any of those spaces, because it is a huge storm, you may want to contact your travel agents and let them talk you through what that looks like. The issue that we're having with this storm called Melissa is that it is incredibly slow moving, which makes it more dangerous, and it continues to gain strength as it moves slowly like a sloth across the waters in the Caribbean. The other thing that is concerning to me is that it's October 23rd and we're still talking about hurricanes. The Earth's core has warmed so much that we just don't even know what's coming, when, how, why, and where. There are quite a few earthquakes that are happening and tsunamis as a direct result of those earthquakes. And so Alaska has been in tremendous trouble as a direct result of one storm hitting it. And because we're dealing with all the other things that are going on in the United States and around the world, we kind of sort of not really paid attention to that. And I mean, it covered their just the swath of the state. So especially on the outer banks. So please be aware of what's going on if you're planning to travel anywhere in the Caribbean this weekend. I'm going to tell you ixnay on the open stay because yeah, that's no one wants to sit through a category 4 storm. And even the islanders, the Jamaicans are, preparing themselves there. Well, they're in it now. It started raining a couple of days ago, and yesterday they got so much rain, and the darn thing is has turned into a hurricane right beside them. So let's see what happens, and let's pray for the folks in the islands and that are in the path of this thing. Hopefully after it passes through Jamaica and Cuba, because there's an alleyway that can go straight through, although it's big enough because Jamaica is only 90 miles away from Cuba. You see, it's not that wide. So, and these storms can spread hundreds of miles wide. So just, pray for them, and let's move on. Now, in light of everything that's going on, and that it is Love is Thursday, Cherie Syfax just traveled to Ghana, to the continent. So she may or may not show up. If she doesn't, we'll always pivot, not a problem. But, we're giving her an opportunity to do that. And at 7:30, Laura Roan will be on to talk about, we call her the insurance lady. She's going to talk about the insurance premiums, how they fluctuate, what's happening with the law that is expiring at the end of this year. What does that mean for your insurance rates, et cetera, et cetera. So every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, we have the after party where we invite someone who is someone who watches the show every single day to come on and talk about something that is important to them that could impact all of you. Okay. So here's my morning motivation. And I want you to really hear what I'm saying because we need to have a conversation about this. In 2009, a woman by the name of Bridget Harris pepper sprayed her father, gagged him with a towel, and cut off his penis. To be certain that his penis would not be reattached, she threw it on the stove and burned it. She then called 911 and left. Gruesome, right? Turns out her father was raping her from the tender age of 3 until 18, raped her sister, and was now bouncing her nieces on his lap and telling her sister to allow him to take them to Liberia to spend time with his family. Her sister, who was also raped, believed when he told them he had changed and was considering it. Bridget told so many people, and no one believed her because her father was a respected community leader. Even his family didn't listen, and he just kept moving them each time she tried to expose him. At 18, he raped her so horribly, she recounted, she packed her bag, went to the American embassy, and got help to return to the United States. Here is the sadder part. What I just described happens at an alarming rate in too many homes. When a child finds the courage to report they are being abused, I need the adult they reported to grow a pair and help them. We are allowing too many family members passes to save face and not ruin the lives of the abusers. I just cannot. Protect your children. Pay attention to how they respond to certain people and do not force them to hug or spend time with them. And for the love of God, stop randomly allowing them to attend sleepovers without checking out the places and people in those homes. I don't need to really go much further about that, right? I have had now several times on this show people who had been abused by their fathers. And it's not, let me be clear, this does not just happen with men, happens with women too. I have too many stories of women who groomed and abused their nieces, nephews, children. So in this instance, we're just talking about men. Hell, we're talking about all of it. I had a guest on here several months ago by the name of Nye Andrews, and she began describing how her father, who was a preacher, started raping her when she was 15. She's alleging that her father was raping her, started raping her when she was 15. Turns out when she told her mother was very angry at him and she thought she was going to be okay. And only to find out that the mother said, well, I just want to save face. And, it's we own a church. The church is in New Jersey. Went and looked at the church. I saw it because, I'm always doing my research. And so she did not protect her daughter and stuck with her husband. Come to find out that the mother was a teenager when she started to date the current husband that she's married to, that the daughter is alleging raped her, and that Nay's grandmother said that he was raping her sister, her mother's sister. Right. And the problem that I'm having is that we continually in our communities save face for the rapers, for the people who have been grooming and touching children, touching them inappropriately, etc., etc. Where does it stop? Where does it stop? Where does it stop? And so they continue, they're allowed, they continue to do what they do. And so then adults grow up and they start telling the stories. So in the middle of interviewing Nay Andrews, so many of you started talking, the memory started popping up for so many of you. You started saying, oh my God, this is bringing back, man. It was a trigger. It was a trigger warning for so many of you. And so I know that the story that I just told of Bridget is one that it may not have ended so gruesomely, but it's a story that happens far too often in our communities and around the world. I remember talking to a restaurateur, a Jamaican restaurant owner who, and I can't even say the town because I'll just let you know, called me one day and said, do you realize that there are parties happening in wealthy men's homes where they are grooming young girls and having intercourse with them, and it's the police chief and it's the head of this and it's the head of that and it's the head of... We tend to look at leaders, community leaders, people who are in spaces of service, etc., as if they're infallible and that they don't do these kinds of things. When I talked to Dr. Ellen Jo Waller about human trafficking, and I've had several conversations with her about it, privately and publicly, we find that the people that are doing it are usually wealthy white men. I'm not saying black men don't do it because, we're seeing all these things coming up out of here. But we have seen news reports of men who are of distinction, who have been selling pictures of their children, their infant children, just all the things. And we keep kind of glossing over it, kind of like we glossed over what we saw coming in the country and just didn't pay attention to it. Who protects the children? Who protects the children? What does that look like? Right? And I'm so grateful that in our personal spaces, I've spent time telling my children, you can't go to so and so house unless you give me 3 days notice. I got to talk to the parents, blah 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 blah. You're damn sure not sleeping over at anybody's house. People will say, but they're boys. Boys get raped too. And so what happened was, because my children knew that I needed a 3 days notice, and that, I needed to meet the parents, they knew instinctively. They hardly ever, they were like, mommy, they knew that I was going to say no based on what they knew about this family and how lackadaisical they were about who came in their house and what was going on in those houses, right? There were parties their friends would invite them to, and they go, no, we know that y'all are in there throwing pills in a thing and everybody taking a pill. They just stayed out of those things because they knew. Because they kept saying to me, but we as parents have to show up when they're younger and say, this is not acceptable. If anybody touches you in such and such a place, it's not acceptable. If you're feeling curious about something, come and let's have a conversation about it, etc., etc., etc. We spend so much time hiding behind, well, maybe it's a taboo subject, I shouldn't talk about it. And so many boys and girls, right, have been raped incessantly. Let's talk about the Catholic Church and the amount of people that have been raped by priests. But they covered it up. It was so huge that when the dam broke, the Catholic Church had to sell off quite a few of his buildings, etc., etc., etc. Right? And yet, when we come out to talk about it, then people are being punished, and you can't say this, and do you know who they are, and blah, 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 blah. Y'all, protect the children. Protect your children. Everywhere we go, we hear this conversation. Protect your children. It is important. And so now I have 4, almost 5 grandchildren. And the 3 that my son has, I am not even allowed. Me, their grandmother. My son is like, I love you dearly, so I am now just being allowed to take them for walks by myself and do all the things. But my son was so conscious about what happens to children, and he recognizes that oftentimes when children are abused as family members, I didn't take offense. In fact, I was quite proud of him. No one is allowed to take his children out of the house, other than me. No one is. They have cameras everywhere. Cameras are everywhere. And so if we don't protect our children, then who's going to do it? Who's going to do it? It is so important. Let me open up some of these messages. Good morning to all of you. I see you here. Let me open up the chat. Jesus. All right, I see you all. Morning, Andrea, Monica, Cheryl, Shaquilla, Ali. Oh, you're all here. Good morning, my darlings. Good morning, Marguerite. Good morning. And I know this is not an easy subject to discuss. And if you know someone in your family that's doing this, or even if you are doing it and watching me, just take a deep breath and say, I gotta leave. And some folks are so addicted to messing with children, they just don't know how to stop. And so they need help, right? They absolutely need help. It's a lot going on out here. Morning, Shaquilla. David, I see you all. Viola, I see you all. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. So Monica says, we have to speak about this, not shield it. The embarrassment keeps lips quiet. We must expose this and shed light is the only way to stop it. Good morning, Danette. It is, Monica. It absolutely is. And so while it is an uncomfortable subject to speak of, baby, speak of it we must, right? This case that's going on in Philadelphia, none of you are ready for the stuff that's about to come out. Not a one of you. Not a one of you. And so while we posture and have meetings and talk about all the things, we have failed. We have failed our young people in so many ways. We have failed our young people. And so the elections are around the corner. I need you all to really, and I've said this until I am blue in the face. I know there are people who get on the air that calls themselves journalists that says, I want you to vote for this one, that one, and that one. I will not ever do that, right? Because I believe you are savvy enough when given the information to choose who you want to vote for or not. The problem in this city and in so many other spaces is that you have these folks that are being paid to tell you who to vote for. They stand up outside of the polling booths and they tell you, this is who we do. Vote for this one, that one, and that one. That's how many of these awful, worthless people get into office, because people are paid, I forget what they call them, committee people, whatever they call them. And they're paying them for however many, folks they can get to vote for X, Y, and Z. Be very mindful. Ask questions. And for me, the hardest part is that you all will not do your homework. It's just easier to ask somebody, who should I vote for? Start doing your homework. You see what's going on here, right? And the lack of thoughtfulness, the lack of knowledge, and just believing what so-and-so tell you to vote for. No, go do your own homework. Because now we have lemons all over the government, locally and federally, who are not doing their work, who are running around cussing out people because X, Y, and Z. Meanwhile, their constituents are asking them, begging them for help. And they aggrandize themselves. They ignore the people. And when people decide that they're not going to vote for them, they remember it and then tell them, I'm not giving you any constituent services because you didn't vote for me. Oh, the stories are horrific, y'all. Horrific. And instead of saying, let me see what I can do with my office to make sure that we start to answer some of the questions, it's when the rubber meets the road that we get all this, conversation about things that are really should have been discussed and dealt with years and years and years ago, and need us to be better. And if you know you're not doing anything for the people and you're only running to make the paycheck and to smile and take pictures, then I'm sorry. Folks need to figure out how to move you out of office. It's horrible. This is not the time. If you are not someone that's going to stand up for the people, then why are you even there? Right? So it feels like I've gone on a tangent, but I promise you, it's all interconnected. And you will see over time that it's all interconnected. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So let's see. Good morning, Laura. Good morning, darling. Laverne says, this case is, phew. I was thinking last night, the Love Is segment, when us girls are attracted to the bad guy, is sensitive in the moment, though. It is. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Let me see. Monica says, Alexandra says, my entire childhood. Hold on. Wait, Lord. Laverne says, I remember when I had my sons, my grandma was the only person that I felt comfortable with. My mother did not like it. Follow your gut instinct every time. Nikita says, it's a shame because even when the victim speaks out, the predators get away with it, particularly if they're in the church. Particularly. Because, touch not my anointing, do my prophets no harm. Lord, if there is a God up in heaven, they're going to be dealt with in ways they can't even begin to imagine. Alexandra says, my entire childhood, there was only one house I was allowed to spend the night, my Aunt Dorothy's. My cousin Jackie and I were inseparable. My next sleepover didn't happen until I was 16 at my friend's. Monica says, I found out so much after my mommy passed as to why she was so overprotective of us. Molestation and Jim Crow ran her out of the South in the 50s, right? And particularly in our Black families. We just don't talk about it. And it's happening. It's happening. It's happening. And we let our children just, whatever. Alexandra says, Fetterman is about to be primaried by Pennsylvania Democrats. I support it, she says. Yeah, they've been talking about him since the first year he got in office. They had a 6-year stint. They have been fussing and cussing about him since then. And so let's see what happens, though, shall we? Because the Republicans really like him. And if he's primaried by a Democrat, and that Democrat wins the primary, he can still go on. He can still go on. Bobby says, sad that was true about the children and the church. Look at Sharice Syfax. No.
I have had a long trip to get here.
How long did it take you?
So it's 12 hours from JFK to Doha, and then I had an 8 hour layover. So I did a city tour, and then it was 7 hours from Doha to Lagos.
And you, where are you? You in Nigeria? Where are
Yes,
you? Yeah. As soon as you said Lagos, I thought you were in Ghana, which is a shorter flight.
it is.
So did you get any sleep?
I haven't yet. I mean, I've been on the plane, so I'm just going to go through the day so I can sleep tonight.
Yeah, yeah. Monica says, yes, good morning, Cherie. So, my
Good
darling,
morning.
thank you for showing up for us despite your long travel. Now, that's commitment. We appreciate you. And everybody's saying good morning to you. What are we talking about today? Because there's so much we can talk about. She has you have a delay.
Okay, well, you tell me. My brain
Okay.
fried.
So I started the
I'm
show
sure
this
there
morning.
is.
Yeah, it is. I started the show this morning with talking about a young lady who not decapitated, took off her father's penis because he had been molesting her for years from the time she was 3 to 18. And I had a whole dialogue around protecting our children because so many people, when I did an interview with Nay, you were with me when we did an interview with Nay Andrews, and she talked about her father molesting her. Remember that? And so many people were on here saying, it's triggering them because of all of what's going on. The conversation I want to have with you this morning is not only how do we protect the children, but how do we get family members to speak up when there are molesters in the family?
So this and I know it may sound maybe not true, but I've not dealt with that a lot in my family.
Yeah.
So I haven't had any firsthand. I do have some cousins, but it's a little removed. Um, but what I do think is that what we tend to do, whether it's in the church, in the family, protect people. And we need to get a lot clearer about making people be accountable for things that they are doing. There was so much shame connected to molesting and different things like that. We tend to take things to the Lord and we pray on things, and we just need to be communicating about things that are happening in real time because that, in some ways, the church has kept a lot of that stuff hidden and secret, and then those family secrets. And for us, and I don't know how it is in white households, but for black households, it's like, don't tell people your business. And we also normalize a lot of things. You know, older men shouldn't be kissing baby girls in the mouth. Just in my opinion, just things like that. And we normalize a lot of that behavior. And as a result, then that starts the grooming to an extent because we have allowed it. I bought my grandkids, and again, even though it really hasn't been like firsthand experience with me, but I brought my grandkids these books about where do hands go. And because even, young boys and girls as cousins, as your cousins and siblings, you start getting your hormones start going, and you start, you've been taking baths together, and just those types of things where maybe some clear boundaries haven't been set,
Mm-hmm.
and now your hormones are raging, and you have this opposite sex, and now you may just start exploring even on each other without
Yeah.
being malicious, if that makes
Right.
sense.
Right. You're
So
absolutely right because it's a
we
natural order of things for
just
children to
need to have a
explore.
lot more conversation and dialogue
Yeah.
about that early on.
And then as the children get to a certain age, you start to separate them from the bathtubs and stuff like that, and gently explain to them, what is normal, what isn't in that, because children will naturally explore. When we became teenagers, we were naturally curious about our bodies, right? What's happening here? Why am I having a menstrual cycle
Yep.
every month? Why do I feel this a certain way when I see a particular boy? or a particular girl, depending on, where you are. And so there are healthy ways to deal with this. But if we don't figure out how to have the conversations early, that can be an issue. So I was 9 when my father pulled my older sister, my other sister, and I together to tell us about sexual intercourse. And he was very transparent. He didn't say the birds and the bees. He said the penis, the vagina, what happened. He was so clear. Baby girl, I did not want anything to do with intercourse till I was full and grown. And I don't think he did it to frighten us, but he made us aware that the minute you get your menstrual cycle, that this can be an issue. I find a lot of parents don't talk about that at all. At all.
They don't. My parents never talked to me about it. You tend to just go out and figure some things out. You just do, because I'm naturally inquisitive anyway. And then things are just happening and other people start talking about it. And so as a result, now you're out there.
Right? And what happens is you make decisions based on what you don't know or what you were
Mm-hmm.
told by people who may not know much themselves. You understand what I'm saying? And so we find ourselves in these compromising
Correct.
places.
Correct.
Not easy at all. Not easy at all. Viola says, I have a story that's too long for the show. I learned later that she knew what her sons were doing. Yes, my cousins. Yeah, because again, to your point, Cherie, children are naturally inquisitive about touching, feeling, all of that stuff. And instead of making them feel like, oh my God, pull them aside. They should not be sleeping in the same room past a certain age. They should not be bathing together past a certain age. And my son has 2 daughters and a boy. They moved the boy. They just turned 3. They moved the twins apart, so the boy is in his own room now, and he loves it. Like he's like, oh my God. And the girls have their own rooms, right? So it is, I just love to see the conscious behaviors of parents when they get it. But he wouldn't have been conscious if we didn't have the conversation with him, because I had the conversation with him when he was 10. He was mortified. And when he was going off to college, I said, listen, there's such things as pubic lice, blah, 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 blah. If you can smell it before you see it, don't touch. Like I was having, and he's like, Mom, Jesus. And we were in the Tarjay at the time. He went off to college. And now 3 months later, he called me and said, Mom, my roommate has pubic lice. And so he was like, the thing that you gave me, I'm using that with him. But I said, go find a clinic, find a doctor, and it helped, right? And his friends were like, yo, your mom is the coolest, because the roommate didn't know what it was, did not know what it was. And so when he described it, I was like, yep, get him to a clinic, and he's going to need a shot. So, and I said, if you ever find yourself, yeah,
Oh,
right.
Jesus.
And so I said to him, if you ever find yourself in that compromising position, please call your father. And so he would talk to his father about it, whatever. Anything having to do with that, he would talk to his father. But he knew a lot because I was having a dialogue with him from the time they were young. Um,
Yeah.
Marguerite says,
Yeah.
I believe praying changes things, yet I also believe people say, let me pray about it when they didn't and want to deal with it. So listen, I am a huge proponent of prayer. I will never say don't pray, but God says pray and move, pray and work, pray and make some decisions, pray and take a
Yeah.
step.
Faith without works is dead. So we can't just pray.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot. Laura
Agreed.
says, my mom and dad did not let me attend health classes that taught anything about sex. Now, see all that stuff right there, right? When my sons went to Abington High School, they had a whole health class and they showed all the bumps, all the lesions. They had in their sex class, they had to learn every single thing. And there were parents who opted their children out of them. But how do you know when you've gotten some kind of communicable disease that you can pass on to other
Yeah,
people?
we had when I was in high school, when I was in high school, you carried a baby around. She had, the anatomy of the vagina, the penis. You put condoms on a banana, and people, there were some Hepburn, and she was a Berkeley hippie. If not for her, a lot of people wouldn't have gotten any of that exposure. I mean, I wouldn't have. was not teaching me how to put a condom on a banana. She was just making me have fear of having sex versus educating me about why, I shouldn't be having sex at certain ages and what the consequences could be and what the exposure could be to communicable diseases, and things like that. And so it was great that I had that class. It really
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, so that was helpful for you because things like gonorrhea and herpes and syphilis, not to mention AIDS, right? All the things that pop up and come back, what they call them, genital warts, all the things that we just will not discuss, and I just don't know why. And we think we should discuss it with our girls, but we don't think we should discuss it with our boys. And so it's a frightening, it's a frustrating, not frightening, it's a frustrating set of circumstances because now we are here. And then to talk about being safe as women, we're just so unsafe. People follow us, they target us. This case that's happening right now in the news, nationally and locally, with Kata Scott. There's so much coming out about this thing, child. I don't know if y'all are going to be ready, which is why I tell you in the court of common of opinion, stop talking, because there's so much that you do not know. And so we just want to make sure that our children are safe. Let's talk a little bit about women being safe and the way we can show up to be safe. Not going to the ATM at night. I don't know why we have to say this. Not going to the gas station at night. Not sitting in your car for 15, 25 minutes, especially when you're in a space where, it's late in the evening or even during the day. People are mugged and snatched during the day. This morning, Cherie, I put up a post about two girls from Philadelphia that have been missing, one since May and the other one since September. And no one is really prepared to have a conversation. The ones in September, the charter school, put her on the bus because she was being bullied. The 57 bus, she never made it home. Right? So that means somebody saw something. And people, when we are out of our minds talking about, I want to get that young girl over there, they're not thinking, oh, she belongs to some family. How do we protect our young people?
I drop my kids off and pick them up at school. I know everyone does not have that luxury. I know it's challenging, but in this day and age of phones and social media and all the things, I would be having that whatever iPhone find me or where, my girlfriends, they all have iPhones. I don't have one, but they all know where each other are at all times. They know where their children are, all those types of features that, let's let technology work for us. Let's let technology work for us. And then let's be having conversations with our young people about if you find yourself in this particular situation, if, don't go in this thing by yourself, don't go off with this person by yourself. Like just those types of conversations and showing some real world experiences. So see, this is what happened to such and such. We don't know all the circumstances, but this is what happened to this person. And so again, I just think there's so much more dialogue that needs to be happening. People aren't communicating. Everyone's looking down in their phones. If you're going to look down in your phones, let that phone make an impact on your life in a positive way, if you're using it so much. So yeah, I think that's really, really, really important. Just having that communication, having some type of, I know for me, when I was, I was a latchkey kid, but I had to call when I got home, so rotary phone long time ago, but that was the checkpoint. I had to call my mom's office when I got home. So then she knew I was home. And so let's not be so free with our children. Let's have them have some responsibility of letting us know I've made it to this point and I made it to that point. Who in the neighborhood can you commune with? We need to commune a bit more, so that people are looking out for our children and looking at our homes and things like that. So I think getting to know your neighbors, getting to know the children's friends. I knew all my kids' friends, so they couldn't lie to me. They could, but they knew I was going to be checking and calling all their friends. So those are the types of things that, I think we've gotten away from because we've let children kind of navigate, at least it seems like from the outside, because my children are 32, 3, and 35. So let's be clear, I haven't had teenage children in a long time, but from what it looks like, just as I even see how my older granddaughters roam around, it's just not as much communication that as much as I'd like. at least.
Mm-hmm. Laverne says, I was molested at 8 and pregnant by 14. Health class, sex education. Who? My mother punished me instead of talking to me about sex. I got my period at 10. I was clueless because I was, but I
Mm.
was disciplined instead. So that could have been a whole different conversation, Laverne. You know, a whole different conversation. It is amazing, and thank you for being transparent, and sharing that. She also says we want our children to have cell phones for safety, but give them privacy and don't allow them to check in. My son used to lie to me really bad. I just don't think any child, based on the thing that we know is going on right now, should have a cell phone that allows them to do anything other than call their parents. Put the locks on, the parental locks on, especially as they're younger. You know, if you're a latchkey kid and you're 9 years old and you need to have a phone because you want to call mom and daddy, because most people don't have landline phones anymore in their houses.
Yeah.
But these children, 10 and 11, are on TikTok and Instagram. So our oldest grandson is 10, and he says, "My parents are going to give you permission to do da 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 da." I said, "Do you think you're old enough for that?" He said, "I am not," and I will tell them, "BB, I am not."
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so because he's able to talk to and communicate with his friends, but we work with them. Go ahead, Cherie.
That's funny.
Yeah,
No, I
yeah.
said he telling on his parents.
Told completely told on his parents. I said, "Do you really think you're old enough to do that?" I think it was TikTok or something like that. He said, "I'm not." He said, "I'm not," and I'm going to tell them when I get home, BB. You know, but a lot of people would just sit there and go, "Oh, okay," and then in the back of their minds going, "What are the parents thinking?" Blah 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 blah. BB asked the question.
The other thing is a lot of it is that parents are letting social media distract and raise their children. And let me say this, having my granddaughter for the summer, I understand why you would give them an iPad periodically. My daughter lets their kids watch TV 1 hour, during the week, 1 hour a day, because you need time to be able to do whatever you need to do. And so I get that. However, the kids are so engrossed in it constantly. And so we need to be having more adult oral. They're so involved that they're not even, their head's not on the swivel. If somebody can come snatch them up and they wouldn't know what they looked like, nothing, because they're so down in that phone or that tablet.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think
We have such a delay. We have a delay, but we're working it out. Laverne says, giving my son cable in his bedroom at 8 and a phone at 12 was the worst decision I made. Um, I watch my son. I'm telling you, you think your children don't pay attention to you. The babies are 3 and 2, and
why did you say that?
what about
Ask her
what?
why you said that.
Laverne, Cherie wants
Giving
to
her kids
know, why did
cable
you
was the
say that
worst.
was the worst decision that you made, giving your son cable in his bedroom at 8 and a phone at 12? She'll write that out. Um, so they're
Mhm.
not allowed to be on tablets, right? They have all these toys like VTech toys where they can learn how to do certain things. So they have a lot of toys around them to do so, but he will not let them sit on the television all day. You know, he said to his wife, "I know we are busy, but those babies, we got to make sure that we take them for walks. We go to the library. You know, they're in preschool. The youngest one, she's 2. She taught the preschool teachers came to meet the twins at the house. They looked at Repeat and said, "Oh, she could be in preschool right now." So you can see that they're working with them and they're talking and learning and doing all the things. But it is very easy to put a tablet in their hands to keep them quiet. Right? I see it in restaurants all the time. I don't know if you've seen it at Booker's, but I see it in restaurants all the time. When we take the babies to the
Mhm.
restaurant, you know, we sit there and talk to them, and we count the creamers, and we count the this, and we count the that. Do you see that in Booker's?
Yeah, I do. I think, and I've talked about that before. The kids are so socially cut off; they don't engage at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They're
And one,
constantly down in their iPads.
yes,
It's
and
almost
one, it's insane. One young man took his
like
life because he was
I
having a relationship with an AI, with AI. He was literally talking to AI as if it was his girlfriend, and they had
Mhm,
this whole relationship because she was
mhm.
respond to him. I need us to really pay attention about how much things have shifted and changed in the last, hell, 3 4 days. It's a lot. It's a lot. And our young people are asking AI for relationship advice. Are you aware of that?
No.
Lord Jesus. Marguerite says, my son and I just had that conversation last week. Even though he is a young adult, I constantly say, keep your head on a swivel. Don't make yourself a target. Absolutely. Absolutely. Winetta says, my family and I all share our locations on our phones with each other. We're doing it too. I keep saying to my husband, I'm going to share where I'm going, but just click my name. You'll see where I am. So everybody, we all are like, okay, if you say you're going to be at a certain place at a certain time, we don't hear from you, we're checking your location to make sure you're okay. We have to do this now. So crazy. Anything else you'd like to add, my dear?
Mhm, mhm. Say it again.
I said, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, we're in a different time. We're in a
Mhm.
different space. And so I think things that we have done traditionally and historically that has brought a lot of shame to families, brought a lot of pain and hurt to families, we need to start being a generation of breaking that cycle.
Yeah.
Communication is one, transparency, accountability,
Mhm.
being honest, um, educating on things that are uncomfortable. Like all those things are things that, for our community especially, and I get it, rape and all those things were so in our DNA, and it was so shame. Be married to a man and then be raped by another man. There was so much shame in a lot of that. And as a result, we've carried a lot of that shame and guilt. But all these things are natural, normal things that we just need to get used to having conversations about
Yeah. Agreed.
early
Tell
and
folks what's.
take
I'm.
no, I was just saying, take some of that mystique and some of that. Go ahead.
Go ahead, sweetie pie. You said take some of that mystique and what else?
No, I was just saying, out of sex and our
Mhm.
bodies and all
Mhm.
those things. Let those things be. Let's normalize some of that, because I think that is the shame, the mystique. The So then people are curious, or or afraid to share, or just multiple things. So let's start normalizing having those conversations.
Agreed. Agreed. Laverne says, my son found porn on cable. It triggered addiction. By 12, he was so digitally smart that he knew how to hide apps on his phone and talk to strange people online. Jesus. I so appreciate your transparency and vulnerability, Laverne. That's a lot. That's a lot. Monica says, my Lord, asking AI about relationships. I need to have more conversations with my adult children and grands about this. Can't wait to hear what hubby has to say about this. And Alexandra says, at Viola, I didn't have my own phone at my grandparents' house until I was 22. I had to pay my own phone bill in order to have it. Yeah, that is helping. Laverne says, I took the TV from his room. I checked the phone but wasn't aware of the secret apps. By the time we found out about the drug addiction and sex addiction, he was an adult. I hope Laverne's story will help a lot of people to go back and check, with their children and to ask questions and to really do some digging. Um, Cherie, are you there, darling? Cherie? All right, we lost her. So her connection, and you know what? She lasted until 7:16, so that was great. Laverne, key, not Laverne, Laura, key up so we can talk, please. Laverne says, Winetta says, I'm so glad to hear Pastor Wallace say that Enon's door is open and a safe haven for the young people and community. He's been doing that for a long time. Laverne says, when I found out about the porn, I was horrified and told him he would die if he had sex like that. I did eventually talk to him more, but it was a hard conversation to have. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. And so I want to thank you all for listening to what was a challenging conversation to have, because many of us not only have young people, teenagers or preteens in our homes, we also have grandchildren that are now growing up. You know, some of our grandchildren are teenagers, some of them are young adults, off into college. Some of us have young grandchildren like I do, who are in 2 and 3 year olds and 10 year olds, and we have a brand new baby coming early next year. And so we just have to continue to be mindful and not let people make us feel guilty about not doing certain things to protect our children. To protect our children, it is something else. The Our oldest grandson is incredibly inquisitive. Someone says something to him, he says, "Tell me why you said that." This is what I know. And we quiz him. We quiz him. Well, what does this mean? What does that mean? And he'll sit down and he'll talk. He loves talking sports with his grandfather. And so they sit down and they talk about the stats and what does that mean and da 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 da. He has a bunch of little friends that he talks to all the time on the phone. And I am only assuming that his parents are monitoring these conversations to make sure that they're okay. It's a lot. And so if you get nothing else from this conversation today, it's really truly to start having the conversations early about the anatomy of your children. Let them know what they, and that in a healthy way, right? What is good touching versus what is not good touching, stuff like that. Talk to them about the anatomy of their bodies in a child appropriate and healthy way. Because this is, as you can hear from the stories that we've been sharing, this is not always easy to do. Never ever is easy to do, right? And we have to kind of figure it out. Marguerite says, thank you, Laverne, for sharing your journey, sending hugs. Absolutely. Laverne has been transparent in a way that is just phenomenal. I know it's not easy to share. She shared these things privately, but I didn't know she would ever share them publicly. um you know and so I'm grateful to you, my sister. I am, and I see you're doing all the things that you can in this moment. And here's the other thing: when we don't, because as parents we don't always get it right. I've had conversations with my parents at my ripe old age of almost 60. And when I was growing up and you did such and such and such, there's always going to be that. I've had particularly my oldest son, when I was growing up, you told me such and such and such and such and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, well, I probably didn't get that right. Here's why I said what I said. What I love about the conversations that I can have with my children now as adults is that when I don't get it right, I can sit and say, I didn't get this right. I want to share something with you. And then so we would have adult to adult conversation. There's still the respect there, but we have the conversations around, okay, so I'm teaching you this so that this can be a thing, in your style. We've got to unlearn things that we've learned. And so it requires transparency and vulnerability in ways that a lot of people just aren't willing or able to do. Because when you don't go through, so many of us need therapy. My God, so many of us need therapy. Jesus be offense, we need therapy. It's been just really difficult to have the dialogue. Marguerite says, Mr. Professor sounds like you in his response. Child, he's his grandfather. He's absolutely, I can't even take credit for it. He is his grandfather. So over the last several months, I have been on a difficult journey personally. We'll not talk about it publicly yet. And so I was, withdrawing, couldn't sleep, all the things that were going on. And when John Bowser called me, I went to an event on Friday. I wore this autumn dress. John Bowser called me on Saturday and said, I need you in that dress because I want people to see what autumn dressing looks like to meet me He said, the only thing you have to do is pay for is your makeup. And I went on out there, and for 2 blissful hours, I remembered myself. I remembered to breathe. I remembered to smile. I remembered to do all the things that made me happy. And so, that was a bartering system between him and I, because now he's going to take those pictures and use them as a part of his portfolio with my everlasting blessings, because he's a master behind the photo lens, right? I appreciate and I love you all. The same way I will pick up the phone and call you guys to see how you're doing. I've been doing that quite a bit because I kind of out of the loop for the last several months, just trying to survive, just trying to thrive and work through some of the things that was happening over here. And I'm still working through them, by the way. I'm fighting health insurance companies, fighting all the things. But just to know that there are spaces where we can do this, where we can just shut everything off, and even if it's only for a couple of hours. I posted some of the pictures. I see you, Laura. I'm about to let you in. I posted some of the pictures in my torn up denim pants, and people liked it. And they wanted to know where I got the pants from. And I said, one of those days, when I was having one of them days, I tore the jeans up, went to the paint store in Germantown, bought a bunch of paints. I know my neighbor was like, what the hell is she doing? Put a thing down, just splashed paint front and just threw the paint on. And then I hung the pants up, and the paint started to drip. Oh, it was just amazing. And so folks wanted to do it. And so another friend of mine, Lisa, who I used to ride bicycles, well, we still ride bicycles together. She's an artist, and she has a space. And so for $25, I'm going to go buy the paints. You don't have to buy the paints. $25, and it's really to pay for her studio time. You get to come, bring your jeans. We'll take scissors and razors and whatever and rip them up. So any anxieties that you have, you can get them out. And then we're going to splash paint, however you want to put your paint on. And she only has 10 slots, and those 10 slots go. She was like, oh my God, Andrea, over one picture. Yes. And so we are going to now do this again. We're doing it on November 15th, and then we'll do it again for more people. Because, she only has a certain amount of space. But I just want to thank you all. Truly, just thank you all. And I see you all here sending love to Laverne. She says, I will not hide this in shame, because there are so many parents with these struggles and do not share. I couldn't suffer in silence. And we get this on this hamster wheel every year. Addiction is hell. Thank you. Thank you so much, my sister. We're sending you so much love. Cheryl says, thank you, Laverne, for sharing. Absolutely. There is shame in speaking our truth. No shame. No shame, she said. I don't want to let Laura in. We're going to pivot into something else right now that I think you all need to learn and hear about. All right, turn off that. Oh my God, Andrea, over one picture, yes. And so we are going to now. What I was just about to say, I'm not going to sit there and good morning, my darling. How are you?
Wonderful.
Looking cute.
Oh, I just came in from the gym. Threw my sweater on and little lip gloss.
That's right. I'm so grateful that you're taking care of yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's truly important. Now, you serve in a pivotal space in the health insurance industry. Tell people what you do, and then we'll get into what we need to talk about.
Okay. Well, I've been in the insurance and financial industry for the past 30 years. Mm-hmm. So people call me the insurance lady. So I help basically with people with life insurance, final expense, health insurance, Medicare, these type of things that affect us. Along with, I do a lot of retirement planning as well. So I kind of have a well-rounded background because I've done so much in the industry. Mm-hmm. So the health insurance is big, especially the Medicare for me, but also working with employers as well with their coverages and possibly like supplemental coverages and things like that. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
All right. So now what's happening? The Medicare, when did the shop, what do they call it? The marketplace open up? Has that opened up yet?
November 1st. You talking about for the season?
Yes.
For the open enrollment season? Yes. It's November 1st.
Okay. And when you say open enrollment season, what does that mean to the average person?
Open enrollment season for the affordable, which Obamacare. Let's just call it Obamacare.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, just so you guys know, the ACA.
The Affordable Care Act, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's what Obamacare is. Okay.
Okay.
So that opens up November 1st.
Mm-hmm.
Not to get it mixed up with Medicare, which is opened up already on October 15th.
Okay.
So these are people that are working. So if you're 0 to 64, your open enrollment for Obamacare starts November 1st.
Okay. What is happening that's causing everybody to go into a tizzy around the open enrollment for the Affordable Care Act on November 1st?
Well, number one is Congress is out. There is no extension on the subsidy. Many people cannot afford the premiums as they are in Obamacare. When you go and look at the website, Penny, Pennsylvania is called Penny,
Right.
PENNIE. When
Mhm.
you look at those prices, whoo, it's expensive, especially when you're not used to paying for health care.
Right. And so
It
why
can
is it
be it
so
can be
expensive? Why is it so expensive, even if it's called the Affordable Care Act?
because what they did was make it available to everyone. So
Mhm.
basically, it used to be that if you had a pre-existing condition, you just paid through the nose for health insurance. What the Affordable Care Act did was it bought you a way to get into a plan without having to pay so much money because you may have a condition. But the other side of that is the younger people that were supposed to be in the program that are young and healthy would kind of make that even. It would kind of even it out. So now you have people that are older with health issues. They kind of can pay a little less because we got younger, healthier people in.
Mm.
Insurance is based on risk, everybody, and that is it. If the risk is too high, you're going to pay more, period, across the board
Mhm.
in all insurance areas. That is
Okay.
just how it is. It is
Okay.
based on risk. So if you're a higher risk individual, you pay higher amount.
And so, what's considered a higher risk individual?
People with health conditions, you're
But
high
is it
risk.
all health conditions or some health conditions?
All health conditions.
Well, ain't this
If
about
you're
but
not in good, okay, if
but
you're
ain't this about a bleepity bleep? Because here's the thing, you I'm sorry, Laura, I
now
need to
it
make sure
may
that you
be
laugh,
now it may not be rated the same.
but this don't make no sense. If you're a human being, at some point you're going to have some health conditions. I know young people with health conditions.
Exactly. But what you have to understand is that somebody has to pay for it. Okay, now you got your two sons. We
Yes,
got our young adults.
yes.
They're not going to the doctor as much, hospital as much. They just don't use the system as much.
Hmm.
They sh- they don't pay it. They shouldn't pay as much.
Yeah.
If you're older, God, we're just getting older. Well, we have to pay more. The system is set up to rate you on your age and whether you smoke or not, things like that. Not on your health though. And so that takes away that sting so much and it allows many more people to get coverage. Remember, it's not a government program. These
Right.
are private businesses, so they have to make their money as well to
Okay.
stay in business. And you can't, it has to be a balance. It just has to be. Or one person, hey, everybody comes into the marketplace when they're sick. Well, that means you're just taking out. This
Right.
is insurance, period. You cannot go and have a car accident and go run down and pay
And go get
a
car insurance.
premium. You
Yes.
can't do that. So you want to go pay your $200 premium, but you want the company to pay you $15,000 for your car.
Okay.
What if everybody did that?
Right. Understood. So I
You
get that
can't.
part.
You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? So it has
Okay.
to be some balances, some checks and balances in this.
Okay. All right. Alexandra says Etna is trying to charge me extra for having fibroids before the ACA. What?
What does that mean
Before the Affordable Care Act? I guess that's what she's
before it
talking.
came along, or
I guess so. I don't know.
okay.
I
Oh,
don't
okay.
know. All
Uh,
right. So now, if the subsidies expires at the end of the year, which is what the Democrats are saying, and you are now talking about what the current cost of being in the Affordable Care Act is, that it is expensive. I did see it. I talked to you through the penny system. I actually was able to get a different and better deal. Um, the what if, let's just say, because when I looked at mine with you, it was $1,100 a month,
okay, yes.
which did not include um, vision and dental.
Right.
If the subsidies expire at the end of this year, what does that mean in terms of insurance payments for folks?
That means that if you qualified for a for for the subsidy, now everybody qualifies for the subsidy. It's based on income. Um, if you qualify for a subsidy, then maybe you're getting part of your benefits paid for.
Well, I didn't
So
qualify for nothing.
you got that right.
So
No,
then what
mother.
does so then what does that
So that
mean?
means that that's going away. So if your premium is $700 and you getting half of it paid for, no more. That $700 is going to fall on you 100% because subsidies are not going to be paid as of right now, as of November 1st. No subsidy. Full amount is going to pay on you. It's going to fall on you.
So if you, as the insurance lady, what is your forecast about what that's going to do for many people? You've been at this for 30 years. What is your forecast about what that will look like for many clients who have had the subsidies?
It's going to be a mess. It's going to be a mess because and guess what? We are going to have to prioritize. We're going to have to prioritize because I don't recommend that you go without health insurance.
But if you can't afford it,
But if you can't afford, we have to redefine affordability.
what the
We
hell?
might have to cut back so we can afford our premium. It's an idea, it's a thought. I
Yeah.
mean, if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. But if you need it, you got to figure out a way to get it.
Especially if you
Now,
have pre-existing health
if you
conditions.
got issues and you need medication and things like that,
Mhm.
you got to do what you got to do. So you may have to rearrange some things. You have to prioritize some things. And hopefully it'll fix itself. What I'm worried about is that there is no other plan that anybody is producing. You want to cut out the subsidy. Well, where is your plan? There is nothing. It's just cut the subsidy. We got to pay for our tax break we gave all the billionaires and things like that. We got to pay for that. So there is no plan. So we have to come up with our own plan. And just so you know, Andrea and audience, there are 4 different levels of plans with the Affordable Care Act. There's your bronze plan, silver plan, gold plan, and platinum plan.
Okay. So
for
what does
plan.
what does
What
the
does that
bronze
mean?
plan? Yes, what does the bronze plan
What do
give
you
you?
think that means? That means
You
platinum costs the most.
right. But do
Bronze
you get
costs
better
the
care for
least.
the so if you pay for bronze, that means you're not getting some of the services that you thought you should get with whatever you're paying for, right?
Exactly.
It only gives you a
The
certain amount of services.
exactly. And so what I'm saying to you, if it all goes to hell, get the bronze plan, because the bronze plans are like a major medical. So if something happens, you got something. It's not the best,
But
but
what does
it would
what does
do
that something get you? Just to get into the hospital to say you have some kind of
well.
insurance?
Yeah, it takes care of major medical. So yeah, I mean, God forbid you have hospital, it'll give you it gives you hospital coverage. Some bronze plans do give you an option to see a primary.
An option to see a
So yeah,
primary.
some of them will say part of your benefit is to see a primary care, but then that's really it. And then primary care and then hospital care or major medical coverage. So it's
Laura,
something. It's something. All right.
Laura,
I'm just saying, yes,
listen to me, my darling.
I'm listening.
I am of a certain age. I get up and I sneeze and my back goes out.
Yes.
I walk funny and my right hip says, baby, you need to go see a chiropractor. I
Yes.
could see yesterday, but today I'm like, what's happening? That we need
Hmm.
to see eye doctors and we need to get our teeth cleaned and we need to, girl, to see the primary care and then the hospital. And what does that plan cost?
That's the bronze plan. So there's different costs depending on the company, but it's the least expensive of the options.
We are screwed.
All right. This is not a joke. This is not a joke. And I am very distraught over what's going on here because it's people, what is it, 20 million people that benefit
Yeah.
without going to be some, God bless some people are, some people don't even have a subsidy because their incomes are high enough. So they're not really affected except, for the premiums that may go up a little bit each year. But
Right.
those people with the subsidies, we are really in trouble.
Alexandra says, I can't afford my Cobra medical coverage premium now, $775 a month. She says, is the deductible lower under the platinum plan?
Typically,
Yeah.
the platinum you're paying more up front though. You're paying more per month, but the costs, the co-pays come down in your platinum plans. But
Do
your
the,
platinum plans they're the
no,
most
but
expensive.
and the platinum plans are a car payment, a mortgage payment. Literally, I'm not even playing. They're
Yeah.
not
What
cheap.
was it for you, Andre? Was it 1100?
It was 11. Did I have platinum or silver? I think that was a
No,
silver
you
plan.
didn't do silver. No,
No.
you went for the platinum or the gold or the platinum. Yeah.
And Andrea says, and now you see why some stay employed in jobs they don't love, but insurance is covered and cost is cheap.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's true. That's true. I mean,
Yeah.
that's where
Yeah.
we are with this
Yeah.
administration, and I can't figure it out because you definitely, how are you going to maintain you're not going to, people are going to vote you out because of these type of things
If they can vote you out,
if they
right? So
can.
it
Exactly.
is.
Exactly.
So we're going to have more people now that are struggling.
Hmm.
So if you can't afford the insurance payments and you don't have insurance, you're going to wait a little bit longer to go to the hospital or to go see a doctor. More people will die. So I'm
Yeah.
trying to figure out what's the cost benefit other than weeding folks out, thinning people out. What's the cost benefit for doing this? If we want to have a healthy America, and then we want to add the food that we're being served that is so filled with all the junk, all the junk you can imagine. I'm not talking about regular junk you use on the streets to pave the road, junk you use on cars, oils, all sorts of things are in our food to keep it preserved longer, right?
Right.
There's hundreds of ingredients in one chicken sandwich, and you
Oh,
don't even know because
yes.
the chicken sandwich tastes so good. And the line into some of these places, these fast food places,
Yes.
are insane.
Insane. We are going to be forced with taking better care of ourselves. And that's what's happening. We Things have been going down for a long time. It's just that we see it now, and nobody, and our government does not, the people in leadership just does not care.
Yeah,
They do not care, and the corporations are running things. They
yeah,
do not care.
yeah,
So the people will have to be better at not buying from certain companies,
mm-hmm,
not doing certain things,
mm-hmm,
and starve these companies so that we can have better choices.
yeah,
This is across the board.
and unfortunately, we don't even know who owns some of these things because we see one name, they put them under a different company name, all the things that are happening to us. And so when I say to you all, take that walking 30 minutes a day, it can be very helpful to you. Go sit in the sun for 10 minutes a day.
Yes,
Dr.
that's right.
Archema Major has been on and she
Yes.
said it. Like, look,
Mm-hmm.
these are the things that you can do, right?
Mm-hmm.
You may not be able to go to the dentist twice a year, but you can have a water pick in your house that you floss every day as you're
You
brushing your
got to
teeth,
do that.
right? You do all
Yes.
those things every day that helps to keep your teeth and your gum healthy. Your gums not healthy and your teeth, that can cause a heart attack, right? If you
Mm-hmm.
know there's certain things in your family history, start to do some research. What are the things that I can do naturally to help myself? Ask some questions, right?
Yes.
You have doctors and lawyers and whatever else in the family, ask them about what's the thing, because unfortunately also a lot of the cures, quote unquote, that we're getting, is pharmaceuticals. And so we have to
Oh
think
boy.
through.
Oh,
And so
stepping on
that's where
toes
we
now,
are. I know,
Isaiah.
but listen, but if we can't afford the premiums, we have to figure out how to take care of ourselves,
You do.
right?
Definitely.
I am in here.
Definitely.
I would love to have plastic surgery on my tummy that just don't seem to want to go down. Instead, I'm sitting here doing ab workout. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
seriously, I'm being as vulnerable and as honest as I possibly can. Some folks have been out here doing liposuction and this and
Yeah.
that, not in mother's purse strings. I have children and grandchildren, and so
Yes.
I'm thinking thoughtfully about how do we do these things. And so I don't feel like doing 3 sets of ab work, and it's making my stomach cramp and all the other things. But guess what? It
You gotta
is what it
do,
is,
you
right?
gotta do
You
what you
may
got.
not be able to go to a gym, but walking every day will be helpful to you, right? Take 2 frozen bottles of water and pump them, because whatever you can, and start to increase your weight. If you have the wherewithal, go and find some weights, buy them online, have them delivered to your house, and you use those weights until you've used them to the point where you can just fling them in the air. Then you go ahead and get some more weights. I one of the things that I'm going to do is get one of those tires. I'm flipping 75, 80-pound tires right now in the gym, but I can flip a 300-pound tire. Go to a place where they dispose of tires and go, can I have one of the tires, please? Put it in my backyard and just flip it in the driveway or flip it in whatever you can do to help
Yeah.
yourselves, because
Help
all of
yourself.
that
That's
makes
where
a
we are now.
difference,
That's where we are
right?
now. We
Right.
have to
And
help
and
ourselves.
yes, and I know we love the fast food, and so instead of
Ah,
eating it every day of the week, one
no.
day your body's going to feel like it's coming down off of something. But I'm seeing too many of us that are not just completely overweight. I'm talking about 300 and 400 pounds overweight, and so that's because we're stressed. Right? It's just better to go get the $5 sandwich or the 2 for $10 or whatever it is, because I can't afford anything else anyway. And let me just figure out how I'm going to navigate all of that. It is hard. It's challenging for many, many people. And when we see folks go into the fast food restaurant, it's not because that's all they want to eat. Sometimes it's all they can afford. If you're making $7 an hour, you're not going to be able to go to the supermarket and buy filet mignon. Get the hell out of here.
No. Mm-mm. No.
Right?
It's cheaper to actually make your food. It's actually cheaper. Um, but now we, in the time, some people don't have the time. You got
Yeah,
to, in
yeah,
other
yeah,
words, it's time that we reprioritize
yeah.
ourselves.
Yes,
And
yes.
because the insurance is making you do that. The lack of
Mhm.
coverage will
Yeah,
make you do that because now you just have you, and maybe you can afford one doctor visit. You can pay for a doctor visit,
right.
but
Find out
then
what the doctor visit is, right? If that's
if you
all they're offering you, and then because at one point I said to my husband, "Yo, these prices, we just gonna put aside a certain amount of money every month in the bank, what I would have paid for insurance, and whenever something happens, then we'll figure." That's how bad it has gotten out here.
yeah, yeah, and
Um,
I'm not happy. Pennsylvania, some of them I saw a couple. An example, it was a couple that's 60 years old, and with the subsidy their premium was like almost $600, but now it's set to triple, basically to triple,
that's
to
eighteen
about
hundred dollars.
$1,800. So that is, now these people are on a fixed income. These people are on fixed incomes. So until they're 65 and can get Medicare, that is what their fate is. Because once you get 65 and you get Medicare, all of that comes down.
Yeah,
Your even your some we had the Medicare Advantage plans, they're zero premiums per
mm-hmm.
month. However, you have copays.
Yes.
Then you have the supplement plans, which pays all of your copays and everything, and they may be a couple $100 a month. So depending on where you are, age, and all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So 65 is like the sweet spot,
Yeah.
but as you age and you have to stay in the in Obamacare, or the marketplace as we call it, your prices go up and up, and this is not good.
Yeah.
Some
Oh,
people are going to have to go back to work, pick up another job
yeah.
to
Yeah.
afford these premiums, but my advice to you is get it. Keep something. Keep a bronze plan. Keep something, because it just is what it is. You want to keep something.
Viola said something that I want to bring to your attention. She said, I had teeth cleaning at Temple School of Dentistry, two for $99. I have been going there since 1975. Find the dental schools, find the clinics
Find
that
the
are
dental
around,
schools. Penn's got a dental
utilize them.
school. Temple's got a yes.
Yep, yep. I know Abington has a dental school, a dental clinic, but a lot of the times, so here's where I'm going to tell y'all, let the pride go with before the fall, okay?
Hey,
So if you're
yes.
prideful and you want to be seen in a marquee dental office and you
No,
don't
no.
have the money, go to a dental clinic. Find out where the
I went.
local dental clinics are in your area.
You want to go
Find out where the clinics are.
you want to go to the dental schools. I went to the dental school, Penn
Mhm,
Dental School,
mhm,
and recently wanted to go to Temple, but I had implants, so they were not really able to do anything with me.
mhm,
So that's fine. That's fine. I have to go to a regular, but I go there because guess what? If whatever services I may need that's not covered by insurance,
mhm,
it's
mhm,
at a lower price.
mhm.
So the dental schools I recommend, and they have um, certified dentists that check the work.
Yes,
They
they're
check the
about to
work.
become dentists.
They check
Absolutely,
the work.
absolutely.
So they're
Yeah,
they're good.
yeah. It
They're good.
is.
And the schools have the most recent tools and everything. And so
Mm.
it's really good.
Mhm, mhm. It is. It's so important. Um, Laverne says, hopefully the free clinics and pay scale doctors are still able to provide care with this administration. That's
Yeah.
the other thing. We don't know how they're impacted, but as long as I've had y'all. If you all ever say that I've been on this air for God knows how many years, and I don't, I've had the healthcare person, the person in charge of healthcare in the city of Philadelphia. And we've talked about how many clinics are here. We've named the clinics.
Yes.
We've given you the addresses.
That's
Damn it, we've given
exactly.
you the phone numbers. I have done it with you
Now,
all the time. So you can't say you don't have options, right? And
yes,
so,
and the city, that's beautiful that the city has the health centers that they're no longer free. They do say they base it on a scale,
A sliding scale for what you
a
can
sliding
afford, right?
scale now. So it's not free anymore, but
Mhm.
that's another option.
Mhm.
I used to do work a lot with them with their Medicare
Mhm.
clients and patients and
Mhm.
things. But that's another option, guys. I'm sure it's going to be ugh, overrun, maybe,
Yes, maybe
but
so.
it's okay. It's an option.
Yep. And
And
so
then
get your appointments
the
now. Right.
emergency rooms still cannot
Yes.
turn you away.
Yeah.
So if you're
Yeah.
having an
Yeah.
emergency, the emergency room has to take you. They can't turn you away.
Right now.
So
Because
yeah,
again,
right now,
things are shifting and changing, right? Um,
yeah, that's the law though. They take you.
yeah.
If you,
Viola says Temple does implants now. One tooth cost me $1,500.
oh, not that. Well, no, that might not include the crown. That might just be
Yeah.
the actual implant.
Right.
The
Right.
tooth crown that goes on top of it. Not sure if
Mhm.
that's included, but
Mhm.
that's, a lot of implants are about $3,000 a piece.
Yeah. Because I have a couple for my baby teeth, and
Hmm.
they were way more. So yes, there's an option. And Donnet says same with the beauty school, right?
Yeah.
Um, Beatrice says yes. I also went to Penn Dental School, loved it. This year, for some reason, my insurance would not cover the dental school. Going forward, I'm trying to find the insurance company that will cover me. There are dental schools that will take you though if you don't have insurance, right? Just you're on the sliding scale again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you would just have to pay. I don't know how they work that out though. I'm not sure about that. But
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. Laura, someone texted me and said we should have you back on next week because this is a
When the
subject
thing,
matter
yeah, when it hits the fan.
when it hits the fan. Yep, when
Oh
it
gosh.
absolutely hits the fan.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
Alexandra says also if you're a Jefferson Health patient, you can apply for Jefferson Charity Care if you don't
Right.
qualify for Medicaid. You have to work with a caseworker at the hospital. So we're giving you options, which is great. As we move forward in all
And
of this.
I just
Some.
did a training for Jefferson yesterday for
Hmm.
Medicare.
Hmm.
And you know what? I'm going to reach out and ask them because these were their community workers.
Hmm.
So I'm going to ask them what that is, how do you qualify? Maybe that would help. Um, yeah, it just came up now that you guys mentioned that. I'm gonna ask and see like what's the criteria because
Yeah.
they're Jefferson patients.
Whoo, child. And this conversation that we're having, it is so necessary because even people who are working full-time jobs cannot afford the insurance premiums that they have that's coming out of their paychecks. It's
There are many deductibles that they're
Mhm.
putting on your plans. Um,
Mhm.
Now that you have to come up with. I mean, if you have a family plan, the
Mhm.
deductibles thousands of dollars.
Yes,
But the good
working for an employer
it
because they're like,
is,
we can't
yeah.
cover
But
this.
there is something called hospital indemnity coverage, and that will help you pay if you go into the hospital. So it'll help you with those deductibles and copays, and some of them even will pay a daily rate of money
Mhm.
to you
Mhm.
based on, okay, you do whatever you want with it,
Mhm.
150, 300, whatever it is, type of policy that you choose, it it will let you know, hey, you can expect $200 a day from this policy, and that helps you pay your rent, mortgage,
Mhm.
car note,
Mhm.
whatever it is
Mhm.
that you need to
Mhm.
pay. It's called hospital indemnity.
So
You can
we're learning all
call me
sorts of
on
things
that.
from
Yeah,
you.
you can call me. Yes.
Indemnity, okay. And if people have questions, Laura, I'm
Yeah.
not trying to send them all to you, dear God, but where should they go?
Well, they can give me a call. They can give me a call. I'd at least could text them back something if I don't have any answers. I
Okay, what's
probably
the
could
phone
text
number,
them
honey?
back. My number is 267
Mm-hmm.
928
Mm-hmm.
0917.
267-928-0917.
Yeah. And let me tell you, and for you guys that want to just shoot an email,
Mm-hmm.
um, do at do me at insurancelady01. Insurancelady01 at Yahoo.
Okay. Okay. All right, 267-928-0917 if you have any questions for her, and insurancelady01 at yahoo.com. Thank you so much. You see,
My
you
pleasure.
all have been, you and so many others have been so good um, in listening every day. And as I listen to you, I realize that you have valuable information to share with people outside of the comment section. So I want to thank you for
My
joining
pleasure.
us for the after party today.
My pleasure.
Right. And then we will reach out to you again, because as November 1st rolls around
Yeah,
and the subsidies expire at the end of the year, because I don't think the Republicans and Democrats, nobody's is giving an inch around this. And I get it. So
I get it.
let's go. Let's
Let's
go.
go. Okay.
All
It's been
right.
my
Thank you, my
pleasure, guys.
darling. See you later.
Pleasure.
Bye bye.
Everybody have a good day.
You too, honey. You too. Alexandra says, I kept my vision and dental coverage under my Cobra because $45 a month is affordable for the two. Yes, that's great. That's great. Bye, Laura. See you later, darling.
Okay. All right.
Mm, mm. You know, some days I say, Lord, how are we going to help the people? How are we going to navigate? And for the first time in my life, I'm almost 60 years old. When they would do a scan of my face, it would say that my skin age was about 30. I swear, if they do a scan of my face now, I'll be every part of almost 60, because the stress and the concerns of not just myself, but everybody around me, it ages you. So I'm going to ask you all, like this morning, I have work to do, but I can hold off for a little bit. I'm going to take myself to breakfast. If you all know where I go hang out for breakfast, then that's where you will see me. And take a moment to breathe. Just take a moment to breathe. It's a lot. It's a lot. And I want to acknowledge that it is a lot, and that there are times where we're still trying to figure out how to navigate through all of it. But I want to thank you all for joining every single day, for having the conversation, for trying to help to find the solutions, to make sure that you're not just the only one thriving and surviving, but other people around you need to do so too. And that we have to think of each other and not just ourselves. This episode of Mornings with Marva is officially over. I am Marva. I'll see you when I see you. Bye, everybody.